So with the release of Broly on Dragon Ball Legends and even the Sparking Goku, the question on everyone's minds for the most part is, what is the best team that you can make right now when it comes to the game? Not necessarily for, story and such, but for PvP mostly. I would imagine that the majority of you just use story to level up your characters, especially the hard mode stages. Well, I say hard mode, but there is a hard difficulty now, and you can take on the first book for the story. But yeah, hope you guys are having a great day as always. Leave a like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Now, I am going to pitch in a few of my ideas, but someone on the the Dragon Ball Legends Reddit, pardon me, basically made just a diagram, I suppose, of the best teams that you can run. Obviously, some of the positions are interchangeable, and you're not going to have every single unit, but to be fair, the majority of the units that are on the bench, a few of you should have, especially because of the types of units that they are, I suppose is the best way of putting it. So if we go ahead and get started, we currently have five teams. To no surprise, the Saiyans are the superior units in the game, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize that the sub/bench units actually make a big difference when it comes to how the team performs. So I think we should honestly start with just the bench units to get them out of the way, because for the most part they are the exact same throughout all of the teams. So number 5, we have the Vegeta, Super Saiyan Goku, as well as the Blue Extreme Goku here, who is actually free. Raditz is free, or was free with his event. Shallot is free as well. This Goku isn't free, but because he is a hero, he is relatively easy to obtain, and you don't even have to use him. Well, it depends on whether or not you want to run this particular setup, right? And if you do want to run this setup, of course you do have to use this Goku, but in which case you have to potentially use this Goku as a sub-unit. Again, you don't have to use these particular units, but they are just the recommended ones. But I should actually go over to the subreddit quick, and big shout out to Epic's Dokun or Vegeta-san. I don't know. Posted by him. I don't know. Well, Epic's Dokun is the one that made it, so big shout out to him, and of course I'm gonna have to get used to that. The Dragon Ball Legends subreddit. So if I quickly open these guys, pause. But of course, the important thing when it comes to the sub units is their Z ability. So that is the main reason why I wanted to get these guys out of the way first. So we have Shallot, we have this Goku, we have Raditz, and now we need the EX Goku. So when it comes to Shallot, his Z ability is 10% max health increase to Saiyans, and of course this increases as it goes up. And his level 5 increases it by 16% instead of 10, which is a sizable jump. And now we have the yellow hero Goku. That gives a 15% blast defense increase to Saiyans. So from what I can tell so far is that the majority of these sub units are going to be more defensive units, units that provide a defensive increase or health at the very least. We have Raditz that provides a 12% increase to max base health for the Saiyans. So that's two guys giving a health increase to Saiyans. So when you combine the Raditz as well as the Shallot, that is a 22% increase for Saiyan health. And I believe this is the last unit that provides a 17% strike attack increase for Saiyans. The wording on these definitely can get a bit confusing at times, but once you get that Z ability to level 4, that is a 27% increase, a massive jump of 10%. So we've got the sub units out of the way and their Z abilities, of course. So when it comes to the teams, Vegeta, Goku, and then of course we have, I should have just said Super Saiyan Goku. Vegeta, Super Saiyan Goku, and of course we have the base Goku as well, which is a pretty solid lineup. Of course, Vegeta has a crazy main ability that increases his blast damage by 50%, which I believe makes him the hardest hitting unit with blast damage. Of course, the hardest hitting unit overall is the Broly, but the Vegeta is just very, very good. Of course, Super Saiyan Goku is capable of doing a nice amount of damage with his strike attacks. I like to believe that his damage overall is pretty decent, right? Nothing too overwhelming. But when it comes to this particular Super Saiyan Goku, he does have the ability to gain an additional super attack with his main ability, which is something that other units for the most part can't do. I believe Broly does have that, and in the future we are most likely going to get units with Ginyu and of course Final Form Frieza that are going to have an ability like that as well. When it comes to the Super Saiyan Goku, just solid all around. He is the only unit that makes it onto every single team in the game, which just shows you how good he is. Of course, he is still in the A tier instead of being in the S tier, but that doesn't make him bad by any means. And of course, well, I suppose the same could be said for Vegeta, because if you take a look at the third team, you could use Super Saiyan Goku or Vegeta, and of course, for the third team, you can use the Piccolo or the Pikkon. So, number 4, Hybrid without Broly, which is the team that I personally used for the longest time. And it wasn't until quite recently that I realized that the Saiyans without Broly is actually a very solid team. And I'm like, wait, why is this? So I personally still haven't figured that out myself. So if we go over to the Goku, he gives a 19% increase to base strike defense. His main ability causes enemies to receive 40% more blast damage for 25 timer counts. And when you combine that with Vegeta's ability, it's just absolutely crazy. Like, imagine that. So Vegeta gets a 50% increase from his own ability, and then you have the Goku that provides another 40% to that. That's pretty damn high for me. And he isn't going to be the main unit of your team, but just the increases that he provides alone, it is dumb. But of course, back to the illustration. We have Broly here with either Pikkon or Piccolo, and then Vegeta or the Goku. Without a doubt, Broly is the best card in the game. Prior to this, it was, the Piccolo, just because he had the healing factor. He got damaged by a decent amount. He still hit relatively hard, despite being a bit more of a defensive unit. The fact that his super attack does piercing damage makes a big difference as well. But this is probably one of the teams that you have a bit more freedom with, because you do have the ability to use multiple different options. But again, this requires you to have Broly. So the Saiyans without Broly is the second best team in the game right now. Vegeta, Spirit Bomb Goku, as well as the Super Saiyan Goku. And let's quickly go over to the Super Saiyan Goku if you don't know what he can do. Of course, he does have a higher blast attack. And when we move down here, he gets a 19% increase to strike attack damage, 35% to blast damage inflicted when ally Krillin is defeated, but the majority of the time you aren't going to be using Krillin, of course. 15% damage inflicted for 20 timer counts. This is that green card of his. Kamehameha deals major damage, 15% to your own special move arts power for 15 timer counts. So I believe this means when you pull off the super attack, the Super Kamehameha, it gives an additional 15% attack increase to the Super Dragon Fist card, which of course is obtained with his main ability. So again, Goku, very, very solid all around. Now, if we can move on to this last team, Roli, Vegeta, as well as the Super Saiyan Goku. So we've pretty much gone over what the Goku and the Vegeta can do. And if we take a brief look at the Broly, crazy high strike attack. His blast isn't so high. His Z ability is pretty bad, but he does have a very similar ability to the Goku, where he can pull just a super attack card, which is the Gigantic Meteor. His unique ability causes enemies to have a reduced key recovery of 15% for 15 seconds every time the character enters the battlefield. A 20% increase to strike damage for 15 timer counts, when facing Goku, and I would imagine that quite a few of you are going to face the Goku. Deals major explode damage, causes enemy to receive 15% more strike damage for 15 timer count, and a 30% chance to inflict faint, Gigantic Claw, which is the green card, 15% to own recovery for 20 timer count, and he forces your opponent to switch characters. And of course his main ability, Super Attack, deals major explode damage. So a very solid team all around. Definitely the most offensive team in the game. This team is very offensive as well, of course, but the Goku himself doesn't necessarily hit all that hard. He is just there to boost the characters around him. This is another very good team, to be honest. Broly, Goku, and even the Pycon or the Piccolo is a very solid team, but again, that just shows you how much of a significant difference the Spirit Bomb Goku makes when it comes to buffing their overall damage, right? But I think I've pretty much covered everything. Again, like I said before, you don't necessarily have to run the setup because there are other units with decent Z abilities. I believe a unit with a good Z ability is the Nappa. No, not the Nappa. There is a unit that I'm pretty certain very solid. I can't find right now. So I'm pretty certain Nappa was top tier at one point. Is it Frieza? Not Frieza. Interesting. I think it may have been Mercenary Tau. Yeah, the critical is increased for purple types for 20%. I think it might have been this Nappa. No, I'm wrong again. Well, regardless, I hope you enjoyed the video. Of course, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Big shout out to Epic's Doken, again, just for providing this illustration. Definitely just puts it into words, or into a picture really, on how you can make a very solid team, because if you take a look at the second best team in the game, you can actually obtain these units for free, right? And I'll get rid of that. The Sparking Goku is free. The Super Saiyan Goku is free, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty certain that you can get him when you get to level 20. And then, of course, you have the Vegeta as well. But I don't think you can quite get him straight away. You do have to make your way up in terms of levels. But you can buy both of them. So, yeah, I don't know if you want to do that. But the point is, the second best team in the game is also probably one of the more easier teams to obtain. And when it comes to the bench, you're, well, not about it so much anymore because his event is gone, of course. But he is still an extreme unit, still somewhat easy to pull. But yeah, hope you enjoyed. Like I said, leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and peace.